Discover connection, awaken sacredness, become empowered. Join us for our show on Blog Talk Radio. Discover your spiritual gifts live.
Well, welcome to Discover Your Spiritual Gifts. This is show number 44. We're your hosts, Dave
and Vialet.
Our guest today is Michele Thomas. Michele is a medical intuitive, channeled energy healer, and spiritual advisor with her company, Radiant Living. Radiant Living came about after Michele got divorced and was longing for something more in her life. She spent most of her adult life in the corporate world, but always felt drawn to be of service. Following her divorce, she went on a spiritual quest to find her true passion and purpose in this life. After taking many classes and workshops, many of those at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts, she was certified as an intuitive practitioner and followed her path to becoming a medical intuitive and energy healer. She feels drawn to helping others reclaim their health and wellness so they can live a radiant life. Welcome, Michele. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So tell us some more about how did you get to this point? We've all been in the corporate world and we've all had those frustrations and we've all hopefully graduated from that. What happened for you?
You know, again, the journey really started after my divorce, where I kind of hit that midlife crisis, where I just was feeling a longing that there was so much more in my life that I could be doing. And it began my spiritual quest, and it really did start with Discover Your Spiritual Gifts. So thank you, Violet, for being such a welcoming environment for those of us who are really seeking our path in this lifetime. And so I took, like I said, lots of classes with Violet and her team, and just became enthralled after so many people kind of told me, they're like, you're supposed to be a healer. What are you doing? And I had never really been drawn to the healing arts. I mean, I was a Reiki practitioner, but it never really occurred to me that this was going to be my passion in life. And one morning I woke up and got kind of knocked over the head with spirit, and they said, find a medical intuitive mentor. So I did that, and I worked with that woman for quite some time. And here I am. And it's truly the passion of my life. I've found the love of what I'm doing, and actually it's even growing more to just not just serving people from the services I provide, but also helping others learn that they can utilize their own intuition to figure out what's going on in their bodies and to be able to heal themselves so they can live a truly radiant life.
Oh, wonderful. So tell us about the medical intuitive. There's a lot of different styles for this. What does it look like for you?
Sure. So for me, I kind of am more of a channeled medical intuitive. And what that means for me is that I call in Archangel Michael and Raphael and Kuan Yin and Mother Mary. And those are what I call my mob squad. They come in at every session. And then sometimes other sort of ascended masters or archangels will pop in as well. I go through everyone's energy field. I start through with the chakras, because what I found is that about 80% of issues in the body reside from blocks or issues residing in those energy centers. So I work with them, and I see and tell the people that I'm working with what's going on in their bodies through the messages that Spirit's sending me. So I'm channeling that information to my clients. And at the same time, we're actually also going in and healing the issues that are going on, whether that be corded to old past lives. It could be childhood trauma, whether that be physical or mental or emotional. It can be ancestral, karmic. So we go in and we clear all of that. And so once we are finished with our energy centers, then we move out and I look at their bone structure and if there's anything going on with their bones, their spine, hips, and then we move out to vascular and so on and so on. And so it's just such a gift, because the amount of healing that happens during these sessions, my clients are so amazed sort of just by one session how improved their life can be by, again, clearing all this crap that people carry around with them that they don't even know. Their subconscious is their beliefs, their thought patterns, and being able to explain to them what the root cause of their issues are, where it stems from. It allows them to have that awareness to be able to go back and say, I need to clear this trauma, whether that be from some belief that my mother put in my head, or even a past life. I helped clear someone who was stabbed in a previous lifetime, who was having unexplained back pain. And, we cleared that cord because it wasn't relevant to this lifetime. And, a few days later, they were amazed that this chronic pain that they'd had had gone away. So it's just a miracle that I'm so happy that I've been gifted with. So that's kind of what a session looks like for me.
Okay. Since these things are all so interconnected, how does the mental state and the emotional state tie into the things you work with that also show up in the physical state?
Mm-hmm. Our thoughts, everything is energy, right? Everything, our thoughts, our actions, our words, everything has energy and power behind it. And by changing your thought patterns, by releasing and forgiving is such a huge piece of this, is forgiving other people for the trauma that they've caused you and the pain. And that's not accepting what they've done to you, but it's releasing it and saying, your energy no longer exists in my current energy field. I now forgive you because your energy doesn't matter to me anymore. I'm done. I'm moving forward, and I'm getting ahead in my life. And those emotions and being able to heal all of those really is so impactful in a physical manifestation. People who are afraid to speak out, to use their voice, to be able to speak their opinions. I mean, I'm of that age group where we were told to be seen and not heard as children. And that lives with us. That belief pattern sits in our subconscious. And sometimes we're just afraid to speak out. And by opening that up and allowing it, it heals all aspects, that when it's blocked, it blocks your thyroid, it creates Hashimoto's. There's so many things that live there that if you can release that, you can heal it and move forward.
So with past lives, how often do past lives really affect us in this lifetime? Because I don't think people realize just how much stuff we bring into this lifetime. Can you share with us some examples of how past lives that we may not be aware of can really impact us in this lifetime? You talked about the stabbing, but I'm sure there are lots of other things as well.
Especially for those of us who are light workers, who have come to this world and we're trying to improve and raise the light of the consciousness. So many of us have past lives where we were witches. We were burned at the stake. We were persecuted for using our powers and our intuition. And so by releasing that allows us to open up our intuition, open up our crown chakra. It's religious indoctrination. It's all of that has come from, again, past lives. It can come from ancestors. It's passed down through the ages. But past lives, again, especially for many women who have been persecuted in past lives for using their powers and their intuitive abilities, it really does block us in this lifetime. And so clearing all of that away opens us up to this beautiful world of utilizing our intuition, whatever that may be, because intuition, everyone has it. We all know that. Everybody has intuition. How you use it is up to you. I always come across people who are like, well, I don't want to be psychic. I don't want to be a medium. And I was like, you don't have to. Spirit's just there to help you. If you ask and are inquiring about how you can improve your life, they're there to help you. And so by opening up your intuition, that allows you to do that. So the biggest one that I see is, again, sort of connected to those of us who have been persecuted in a past life. So that's a really big one that I come across a lot. But it does affect us, and clearing those cords, because if they're not related to this lifetime, they can be released. So there is one sort of caveat to the work that I do is if you've signed a soul's contract to, come into this life and experience something, I can't remove that, right? Spirit won't let me remove that particular cord or issue or whatever's happening, because you've come in to experience that and to grow and learn from it. And it's your soul's journey. So that is sort of the one caveat to sort of some of the work that I do is if there is something that you've come in and said, I'm going to experience this, I have to learn and grow from it, then I have to allow their soul to have that journey.
And I see a lot of clients, I see that too, of past lives, of prosecution and how that affects us. But it all wraps around a lot of times to fears that we have. And I know Dave works with people on fears and how it affects them. Some of us fear heights, or, we fear certain things, and those are through past lives that really block us sometimes in moving forward in this life. Have you
Absolutely.
found that fears are a big thing in your work?
Absolutely. And fears can live in any chakra, to be honest. Fears, a lot of phobias live in our root chakra. All of those things they live there. But we get fear from, it's conditioned in us a lot of times. So not just past lives, but, we have religious indoctrination that comes in as well. And, I work with Archangel Michael and Gabriel and Mother Mary, who are part of the Christian hierarchy. And so I always kind of have to remind the people that I'm working with, and I'm like, if this is your belief pattern, that's okay. But know that it's okay to use your intuition. You don't have to be afraid. The thought that your mother put in your head of you're going to hell if you use your intuition, that connecting to spirit is a negative thing, release that, because it's not. Especially if you're only connecting with the highest light and the highest divine spirits, there's no reason to be afraid. But a lot of other fears, again, yes, exactly, from past lives, fear of heights, fear of snakes, fear of water. Some people have, drowned in a past life and they're terrified of going in the water. And yes, we can absolutely clear those fears and clear that phobia away from them by removing those sort of blocks and those cords to those past lives.
Well, I so understand that. My kids laugh at me because when they grew up, I was Southern Baptist. Mm-hmm. And I told my daughters if they read their horoscopes, they were going to go to hell, and they could not do that. And they laugh today because of all the things I'm involved in today. But those are really strong beliefs, and we mm-hmm. carry those until we release them or move past them or find another way. And we may not realize that they still sit in a cell of our body or somewhere inside, even though we don't consciously think that anymore, but subconsciously somewhere within us, we can still have those fears stored that are creating triggers and emotional outcomes from those belief systems. So they're really powerful for us. And I know Dave has seen a lot with fears that he can share with us too, because I know he does a lot of work in that area.
Yeah, I find a lot of people have fears of ocean water versus clear water. There's something about seeing things in the water that can attack them. These may come from past lives where they were forced to walk the plank and they ended up dropping into the water and being eaten by sharks. Or just overall a fear of taking a cruise because they've gone down on ships in the past, and either the ships went down accidentally or they're deliberately sunk, either in warfare or the pirates attacking and burned the ship and sunk. And it's not until in the last 75 or 80 years that people routinely know how to swim. So even sailors in ancient times did not know how to swim. All they could hope for was to get a piece of debris that they could hang on to float. And so a lot of people have those fears. Another strange one that's come out for me is a number of people who are claustrophobic, and I find they have past lives where they were buried alive as a form of execution or punishment. And that has to be some horrific memories, and so we work on getting rid of those. So lots of fears to go around out there, and with these reachbacks to past lives and those energies. So any work that you're doing, Michele, on helping to release or alleviate those I'm sure it's greatly appreciated.
Yeah, it's very powerful, and again, just by knowing where it stems from allows them to mentally, clear and understand where it's coming from and be able to work on it. Because sometimes people don't know why they're afraid of water, right? Or or whatever it is, they're just sort of like, I don't know, I grew up and I've had this fear my whole life. And so by even just, and Archangel Michael comes and clears those words for me, but giving them that awareness that saying, hey, this happened to you. Now that you know that, you can work on clearing it from your mental and your thought patterns, that you don't need to be afraid of that's a past life thing. So because the work that I do, clearing cords and removing blocks, if you still hold that belief, it grows back. I tell everyone, I was like, there's still homework to be done after a session with me, because you have to do the work that you no longer subscribe to that belief pattern anymore. Otherwise, you're going to see me in another month, because you're going to be like, oh, well, what did, I know I felt better for a few weeks and now I'm back. And I'm like, well, did you change your thought pattern? Did you do the work? Did you clear those shadows? So there's always still work to be done. We're all works in progress.
Oh, absolutely. So when people show up and they have a whole list of prescriptions and you're working as a medical medium with them, what does that look like? Because obviously you're not in the medical side of it. You're not in Western medicine. How do you work with that? Where do you take them?
For a lot of people, I always tell everyone that I am not a medical doctor. Spirit does show me when things that they need to go see a doctor about, they show it to me a certain way. So I can say, okay, there's something going on. I helped a woman in Canada, actually, and she came to me and was like, there's something going on with my, my intestinal, or there's something going on. And it shows up as like this black area, like I can't even see into sort of her torso. And Spirit's like, she needs to talk to the doctor about her gallbladder or her kidneys. Like there's something going on there. And it turns out she went to the doctor and came back to me and was like, I have to have my gallbladder removed, like soon. Like, thank you for telling me, and with COVID, so many people were not able to see their doctors. And in Canada, because of the socialized medicine system that they have there, it was going to take her a long time just to even get in to see a doctor. And so just by giving her that tool to say, hey, have them check this out, it helped her sort of navigate that sort of medical system to be able to hone in on something that they needed to look at for her specifically. And I assume that it probably helped her, any kind of healthcare costs with that. Again, I don't know Canada's medical system quite that well, but being able to say, hey, I need you to check my gallbladder, and taking charge of your health and saying, this is what I need to do. As far as, prescriptions and things like that go, again, I don't ever tell anybody, you need to get off this prescription. We're going to clear it. And then I want you to go to the doctor and see if your medication can be lowered or things like that. I also, people, I see, like when high blood pressure or when their cholesterol is sort of going up, and I can say, hey, you know what, you need to sort of check your blood pressure and see what's going on, because or watch the foods, because if you're not taking care of yourself right now, in another year or two, you're going to be on high blood pressure medicine, or you're going to have to be on cholesterol, medicine. So it helps them sort of give them some thought as well about how they can take care of themselves now, before things can get worse. So that helps them as well.
I think it's important also when you're doing work with healing or medical intuitive that you do know some of the common numbers and thresholds for where problems are indicated. I have one client, and he casually admitted one day he just had a blood test at the doctor and his blood sugar was like 350. And I said, so they put you on drugs right now, right? He goes, well, no. And I said, you need to be getting treated for this. This leads to blindness. This leads to neuropathy. This is a very bad thing. You need to go get this fixed right now. You need to be seeing the doctors right now. End of discussion. Well, we'll talk about your other issues, but Tomorrow, you need to be on the phone.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've worked with women, and similarly, where it's just like, you know what, you need to have this looked at. There's a problem there. And while a lot of times, especially around their sacral chakra, things will come up as far as food intolerances or things they're eating that if you avoid this, a lot of it is dairy. So dairy comes up a lot. And so it's sort of like, hey, you need to do this because it's going to make you feel better. Right. I'm trying to help you, as well as people who have a lot of inflammation in their bodies. And I'm like, listen, you need to try the inflammation diet. I don't, Spirit tells me that a lot. And I've never even looked up what the inflammation diet looks like. But the Spirit's like, you need to try this for a while so that you can get rid of some of the inflammation and some of the swelling that's going on in your body, because it's just inflamed right now and your body is in sort of a shock state. And so in order to sort of calm all of that down, try this sort of inflammation diet for a few weeks, see how you feel, because I think it's going to help you, so it's being able to guide them in diet choices as well, on what might not be working for them as well.
Yeah, there's so much these days about what we get with food, what we get with water. I used to be pretty casual about water, and I still am somewhat, because we're in Rocky Mountains here. We're in Denver. We're at the headwaters. Sad to say, I mean, good for us, bad for them. Everybody downstream gets our stuff. And, I talked to a chemist who understands the ecological stuff, and I said, the conversation started out with, well, when I have leftover prescription, now we're being told that you put some water in the cup, mush it up, and then throw it away. You don't flush it down the toilet because you don't want those drugs in the toilet. I said, was that really a big deal? And he goes, frankly, no. He said, everybody's taking so many meds now that when you go to the toilet, and that ends up in our wastewater, he said that far out swamps or dwarfs anything that you would flush. And he said, there's so many drugs in downstream water now, when wastewater is treated and then it's put back into rivers and waterways. And then the next town hopefully gets it diluted. But there, as you go downstream, I can't think of what New Orleans gets out of the Mississippi in terms of all the upstream drug usage that people are putting into the water. So, clearly, good water is important to people, so you aren't picking up all these other trace amounts of drugs.
Absolutely. And that's one of the biggest things that Spirit always tells me too, is just you need to drink more water. We as humans do not drink enough water, aside from the fact that some of it's not necessarily good for you because of, again, what you just mentioned. But being hydrated is so important in our bodies, and so many of us we don't take care of that aspect of our bodies, of being hydrated.
Okay, well, we're going to take a short break here. We're going to have some messages from the store, so stay with us and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Violet Rain, Master and Teacher of Sacred Priesthood in the Mystery Schools here at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts. This is a program that I offer about once a year. We take on students to start this program. It's an 18-month program, which means there are 13 classes. We teach a class once a month, and we skip months with holidays. And on this path, men and women can come together to become sacred priests and sacred priestesses of the Order of Melchizedek. The Order of Melchizedek is the oldest sacred priesthood on this planet. It was mentioned in the Bible and still exists today. This is about walking a path of beauty, sacredness, and service. It's about learning how to be a magical creator of your own life and using the universal mysteries to create whatever type of life that you're looking for. This path is filled with magic, about learning prosperity, about creating, about sacred sacred geometry, about Kabbalah, about learning about the ascended masters, the archangels, the elementals, including dragons and fairies and unicorns and the mermaids. It brings all that universal wisdom together to create a way for everyone to have that joyful and abundant life that they've always wanted. I hope that you will check out our website under classes and look for Mystery School or look for Sacred Priesthood and find out more about these classes and what we have to offer. I look forward to seeing you in class, and I hope to see you really soon at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts.
Well, welcome back to Discover Your Spiritual Gifts. We have our guest today, Michele Thomas, and she's talking about medical intuitive work and all the vibrational energy work that she does. So welcome back, Michele.
Thank you.
I know, Michele, you also do messages, because I've seen that you're offering messages live and you're doing message galleries and that sort of thing. What brought you into that area, and how do you utilize that?
Sure. So during COVID, just as I was about to launch my medical intuitive services out into sort of a much wider audience, COVID hit, and Spirit led me to start offering free gallery readings for people. And they were extremely successful. And Spirit just wanted me to be of service, right? During this difficult time when people were unsure, when they were feeling unstable, and the world was looking a little upside down. It still is, but we're all sort of kind of figuring things out. But that helped just so many people to sort of see what they needed to know. And because I can channel the messages from Spirit, yes, I'm pulling cards, but it's more the party trick of here's the card, but I'm actually just talking to them about what that card might actually mean for that particular person. And so then I've sort of transformed that into, I have a couple of classes coming up that's called Energy Healing and Divine Messages of Support, which is kind of a combo of it's a chakra healing and clearing session where I'm teaching people how to utilize and harness the power of their intuition to clear their chakras. But the last hour of the class is me delivering them channeled messages on how they can actually heal what needs to be healed. So it's like almost a mini medical intuition like healing session. But also on my Facebook page, I go live every few days or every once a week or so, giving messages, channeled messages to people who want to join my live calls, because it brings me joy. It's fun. I like doing it. And, I feed off their energy, and it's just a really great way to help others that from an energetic perspective, it's just a fun thing for me to do. And it brings up my energy, it brings up their energy, and allows them to get some messages that they need to hear. And so it's just sort of my easy way to kind of give back to people that just might need a little bit of guidance, for the week and things like that. So I love doing it. I offer, channeled message readings as well as part of, my services on my website as well. So, but I just love, now that I'm so in tune with Spirit and my intuition, again, my path in this lifetime is to be a healer and to be a helper. And so being able to provide services that help others raise their light and to get into flow and figure out how they can tune into their own intuition is really a path of joy for me. And so, yeah.
I love that. So what is your Facebook page? If people wanted to connect in just to your Facebook page to be part of that, how do they find you?
Sure. It's Radiant Living HLC, and the HLC is Healing, Light, and Connection is what that means. So, but Radiant Living HLC is my Facebook handle for my business page. But I always sort of schedule live events. I'm actually doing a a full moon event, coming up. So I kind of do my events around sort of some of the celestial happenings that are going on as well. So it's just it's fun for me to be able to do this and to provide all of the information, and I post lots of sort of inspirational posts. I give them tips and tricks on how they can tune into their own intuition to be able to thrive.
Love that. So we're about discover your spiritual gifts. What would you tell people that are, how can they step into their own intuition? What do you tell people because you talked about you're really trying to empower people in their own lives. What would you share with people, some tips and tricks and ideas about stepping into their own gifts? Trusting.
Yes. Well, practice makes perfect. And actually, we're all perfectly imperfect. So there's no such thing as perfection. But, by practicing, right, I recommend people meditate. Right. And for those of us who have busy minds and meditation sometimes can be difficult, I recommend automatic writing for that as well, to tune in and figure out what your higher self or spirit wants to tell you. Meditation is such an important piece, even if you can do it for 1 or 2 minutes a day, to quiet your mind and allow your subconscious, your higher self, your spirit to talk to you before you get on with your busy day where you're too busy to hear spirit sometimes. So taking those few minutes in the morning or in the evening to tune in allows you to expand and grow, and it's a muscle. So the more you practice, the better you'll be at it, and the easier the information will flow to you on demand, right? Because we all that's the key, right? Is, oh yeah, I see lots of things, randomly, but how do I call it in on demand? And that requires practice. And there's lots of tools out there to figure out, what, there's the different clairs, that clairvoyancy and clairaudience, and trying to figure out where your dominant clair is and building that muscle up first, right? So I'm claircognizant is my main dominant gift, but I'm currently working on increasing my other clairs as well, so that I'm a fuller package of being able to hear and feel and, taste, you name it, I'm trying to work on it. So we all have a dominant clair that we can all work on and be able to build that up first. And it's amazing the information that you can get when you start working with spirit.
I love that. My first intuition gift was just a deep knowing. And I remember I used to work in an office building, because I came from the corporate world too, where we had 4 elevators that went up and down the building. And when I really stepped in spiritually, I noticed that I started standing at the elevator trying to guess which elevator door was going to open first. And it is about using that muscle and practicing. It's not about being critical with yourself. It's just tuning in to those feelings or sounds or pictures to get information. And I used to practice every day when I went into the office, when I went home from the office, and I got really good at doing that. And then I started guessing traffic lights. It's going to be red, green, or yellow. And so just practicing and silly stuff where, there's no win or loss. It's just curiosity. Can I do that is definitely really powerful. So
yeah, I practiced using like cars. I'd try and guess what color car was going to come down the street next. I used deck of cards, just trying to guess whether it was black or red that was going to show up next. So there's lots of different ways that you can tune in and practice, and know that you're not going to be perfect, right? You really have to give yourself grace to build it up. And if you didn't get any messages, that's okay. You try again tomorrow, or you try later on in the day. And I recommend people to take a meditative walk, where you're not focused on getting somewhere fast. So it's not a workout. It's not trying to get from point A to point B. It's about being in the now and looking at the flowers and looking at the trees. And it's impressive the amount of information you can get, and just by tuning into living in the very now and being present and seeing the information around you. I tell people too that, when you're in the car and you have your playlist on, shuffle it and ask spirit and say, okay, I need a message, and shuffle your playlist and see what song pops up and what message might be there for you.
I love that. I have a very large playlist. That could be lots of fun.
I do too.
Crazy playlist. Everything from country to jazz to everything. So
yeah.
Lots and lots of fun.
I actually am also getting my kids sort of in on it as well. So my kids now recognize, like, they'll call out from wherever they are in the house. They're like, Mom, it's 11:11. Awesome. Thanks for letting me know. So they, and they know that I collect feathers. So feathers for me, I have a whole collection of feathers. And so if they see something, they're like, Mom, look at this amazing feather I just found. Awesome. And they know that, right? So just even getting them tuned into sort of, from a childlike perspective of saying, hey, you know what? The universe is there. Getting the amazing parking spot. Like whenever I am like, oh, there's no parking, and someone pulls out right in front of me, and I'm just like, thank you, Spirit, for the parking spot. And so they just laugh at me, and they're like, all right, Mom.
Well, one of the cool things you can do with kids, and this can be as a mother with a young child or a grandmother with a young child, they're so trusting and believing, and they're open to this stuff that this is a cool thing you do. So if they end up with like a little wart on their hand, you can say, we're going to go out and we're going to find that one special little stick that's got magic in it. And you go out and you carefully find the right stick, maybe ask for their advice, and you get the stick, and then you hold the stick and you gently touch the wart. And you say, this magic stick is going to make this wart go away. And they usually go away within a week. The psychology of the kids and, working with turning on their immune system and everything, and they're believing and trusting nature. It's a great thing. You'll see them go away.
That's awesome. And our minds are so amazing. The amount of healing that can go on, it's that placebo effect of our brain is truly our most powerful healing tool that we have.
Well, some of these people who are true multiple personality disorder, when they work with them, this is what, one of the things that convinces me how strong your subconscious is to affect your body almost instantaneously. Some of these people, as fast as they change from one personality to the other, they can go from being diabetic to non-diabetic. And it's like, wow, how did that happen? Some of them, they go from glasses to no glasses as they change personalities. Okay, so if your body has capability of doing that, your body has the capability of saying, I'm tired of these tumors, tumors be gone. And we've actually seen something like that on a Greg Braden video where he had these people chanting around a woman who had a bladder tumor. And in the space of about a minute and a half, you see the bladder tumor shrink and disappear on ultrasound. And so if your body has the capability of doing that, what doctors would call spontaneous remission. So one of our jobs as healers is to get your mind in a state where it says, okay, I guess I will allow that to happen. I will make that happen.
Absolutely.
So powerful, right? Just so powerful. I mean, there's stories all over the world where people changed and healed themselves from cancer, from everything that you could think of, just by saying, nope, not going to happen to me today. I'm going in a different direction, right?
I mean, and there's a difference between the people who have successful, remission and those who don't, right? And it's so much lives in the power of positivity and knowing you're going to get better and knowing you're going to, become healthy again. It's truly powerful.
It really is. I just, it amazes me every day, the stories we could hear around so many different things. And the shifts we see in our clients and people that we know. So really powerful when you can step into that and allow that to happen. So pretty cool. Well, I know you have something coming up in November. What can you tell us about what you got going on in November, Michele?
Yeah, so as I mentioned a little bit earlier, I'm hosting my Energy Healing and Divine Messages of Spirit. The event's on November 14th, and it's a virtual event, so anyone around the world or country Linktree can tune in. The event is on your Discover Your Spiritual Gifts event page, as well as my Radiant Living HLC Facebook page, so people can find it easily on the event section of that page. It's going to be really powerful. We go through a energy clearing first, and then we go into a deep meditation about, where your chakras are blocked and what needs to be released. And then I go in and do some channeled messages to help them figure out, okay, well, why is this blocked? What's going on? And helping them figure that out so that we can help them heal, right? That's the whole point, is helping others learn how to use their intuition to change their mindset, change those blocks, get rid of all of the baggage that we all carry around. And then I also have a free Facebook group called You Can Heal Yourself. And that is also on, if you go to Radiant Living HLC on Facebook, there's a group section. And that's it's me. It's the group's purpose really is about empowering women to harness the power of their intuition to be able to heal and thrive. And it's, September's theme was intuition. October's theme is all about bringing magic into your life. But the main focus is really helping women understand that you have the power to heal yourself, and while I'm a beautiful, amazing conduit to help you with that, knowing how you can do it yourself is even more powerful. It's that if you teach a person to fish, right? And that's really my goal.
Then they can eat forever. If they can fish, they can eat forever. I love that. You have to like fish first, I think, probably.
That's true. Yeah.
But they can eat forever.
You get the metaphor.
I love it. Well, Michele, it's been amazing having you on our show. If people wanted to reach out, just one more time, give them your contact information and your Facebook pages so they know how to connect with you and schedule appointments if they'd like to meet one-on-one.
Excellent, yes. So my website is radiantlivinghLC.com. They can reach me by email at Michele, Michele, at radiantlivinghLC.com, as well as my Facebook page, Radiant Living HLC.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I have loved to watch your spiritual journey, because I remember when you first came to discover your spiritual gifts, and you were just trying to figure out what all this was about. So I loved watching your journey. And then I know we spoke the other day, and you have clients all over the world now. You're seeing people in many different countries, and I think that's amazing. So I love being able to witness all these journeys of people growing and expanding in who they are.
And I have to, again, thank you for being so welcoming and inviting, and to be really just supportive of all of our journeys, right? Because, while I've always been interested and I know I've been intuitive my whole life, I really kind of shut it down for a 15-year period. And now I'm feeling so in alignment and in flow, and I love what I'm doing. So thank you so much for all of the support that, again, Discover Your Spiritual Gifts has given to me and so many people in the community here around Denver. But thankfully to COVID, I guess, I have clients around the world because virtual events are now a big thing. And so it's allowed me to really expand and grow and to work with people who might not be able to visit me in person. So I'm counting my blessings in that regard.
I love it. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Michele, again. It's been a wonderful talking to you. And I want to thank all our listeners for listening to this show. And please stay with us for messages from several of our other practitioners at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts.
Hi, I'm Nikki Milton. I am the Center Manager and Marketing Manager here at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts. I'm here 2 days a week on Mondays and Fridays, marketing this beautiful center and making sure that the center is up to standard for all you lovely guests who will hopefully come and visit us soon. I also own a content marketing agency, so I'm a teacher here in the space because I have a real passion for helping the spiritual business owners in this community learn how to brand and market their businesses. So I run a business class series every year on branding and marketing and social media classes, as well as a full strategy workshop towards the end of the year to help you get your business in line for the upcoming year. And that is what I do here at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts.
Angels are loving messengers and guardians, helping us find our way on our life mission and protecting us on the journey. Are you seeking an angelic perspective of yourself or situation? Ruby Wayward is an angel intuitive, using her intuition, angel tarot, and oracle cards to provide angelic perspective readings. Learn which angels are helping you or wanting to work with you, and gain insight from your guardian angels. Ruby not only works with angels, but with other mystic manifestors, messengers, and elementals like the dragons, unicorns, and fairies. Ruby can connect with you to your personal dragon, channel messages from your unicorn, and guide you in best practices with the fairies. Find Ruby Wayward as a reader at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts every second Sunday of the month. Walk-ins are welcome, or call Discover Your Spiritual Gifts at 720-573-4275 to set up an appointment.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Mayer, Sistership Circle Facilitator and owner of Insight and Alchemy. I hold intentional events designed to provide transformational and soulful experiences. I serve by facilitating spiritual and tangible connection that enriches and empowers women in their expression, leadership, and lives. We have monthly sacred women's circle gatherings at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts. Each month, we focus on different themes like self-love indulgence, expanding blessings, and activating abundance. We come together to honor our authentic selves, sisterhood, and the divine. In this safe and sacred circle container, we speak our truths, embody our intentions, and create action in ceremony. Circle is a confidential and supportive space where you're invited to openly share without interruption or unwanted feedback. Instead, you are beamed with loving energy while being seen, heard, and honored for just being you. We dig deep to raise the individual and universal vibration, healing sisterhood wounds, and shifting the paradigm of competition, isolation, and fear. Each circle is unique and offers magic and medicine co-created by all the women who come together. When you join us in Circle, you receive what you are meant to receive while enriching the experience for your sisters simply by being you. Won't you join us? Check our Circle Gathering calendar and reserve your spot by visiting insightandalchemy.com, Discover Your Spiritual Gifts, or sistershipcircle.com/events for circles being offered in Colorado and around the world. Connect with me in Circle or contact me at tiffany@insightandalchemy.com to learn more about our monthly circles or schedule a private gathering. Blessings.
Discover connection, awaken sacredness, become empowered. Join us for our show on Blog Talk Radio.